MS Excel is the most popular data analytics tool, still widely being used everywhere for day-to-day data analytics tasks. Hello friends, this is Abdul Rahim Ghani and we are here to implement the 3 months data analyst roadmap step by step with you. This is the first week of our roadmap implementation, and today we are going to walk you through the very basics of MS Excel, where we will be starting from very scratch and we'll be going to advanced topics step by step. So without any further ado, let me show you my screen and begin the video. So MS Excel should already be installed on your computer. When you install Microsoft Office, MS Excel is a part of the Microsoft Office suite and it will be installed on your computer. So how to open MS Excel? There are many ways to open MS Excel on your computer. Go to Start menu and write Excel in the search bar. MS Excel application will pop up here. You can click MS Excel here and it will open on your computer. This is one way of opening MS Excel. Another way is to press Window plus R key at once, and this run command will open up right here, Excel, EXCEL, and click OK. It will also open MS Excel application on your computer. When you open MS Excel, you see this interface, which is the opening page of MS Excel. We can begin by opening this blank document, or we can see some templates. These templates automatically come with MS Excel installation. Here are the recent opened files that you have worked with. You can pin these files, so you can always open it from here. Here is the pin key. We will talk about these options later on. So let's begin by opening a blank workbook. When you open a blank workbook, you see this interface of MS Excel. This file is called Microsoft Excel Workbook, and each workbook consists of different sheets that we are going to see later on. First of all, let me show you that we can have different sheets that you can see sheet 1, and if I press this plus button, we can have as many sheets as allowed by our storage of computer. The letters A, B, C and so on that you see is actually called a column, and the 1, 2, 3 numbers that you see on the left side of this sheet are called rows. So the combination of a column and a row makes it a cell. For example, if I click here, over there on the address bar I can see C4. That means that the column of this cell is C, that you can see on top of it, and the row number of this cell is 4. So this is called C4. If I click somewhere here, this is column G and row number 7, so this is called cell G7. Of course, we can rename the cell reference by clicking here in the address bar and giving it a name. Let me give it a name, for example, colored cell, and press enter. Let me give it a color so I don't lose it later on. This is the cell that I have named it colored cell. I can reference this later by this name. If I want to reference it by this name, I will write the name of the cell somewhere else and then it will be referenced automatically by this name. Before referencing this cell, let me show you a formula bar. Here we have the formula bar. Here we have the formula bar where we can write our formulas for calculations and performing different operations in MS Excel. For example, if I click in this cell, which is A1, and I come here to the formula bar, I can write simple calculations. For example, first of all, whenever writing a formula, we need to add equal sign, so MS Excel can understand that we are writing a formula here, and then we can add our calculation. For example, I want to add 2 plus 6. So if I press enter, I will see 8 here in this cell, which is the result of that formula. But in the formula bar, we will see the actual formula that we have typed. So we will be using this formula bar later on for adding different formulas and calculations. Similarly, as I said before, we can reference this cell by the name that we have given it in the address bar. For example, let me add a value to this, 10. And if I want to reference this cell, I can write equal sign for adding the formula, and then I can write the name COLO And you can see here underneath it that we have colored cell. If I press tab, this colored cell will be referenced. If I press enter, I will have the value 10 here because the value 10 comes from this colored cell. Similarly, if I want to reference another cell, I can simply write the address of that cell and the value or anything that cell has will come here. For example, if I want to reference this A1 which has a value of 8, I can just type equal sign and write A1. If I press enter, you can see that the value of A1 comes here as well. So this is cell referencing. Let me show you the interface of this worksheet. We have tabs here. For example, we have file tab. If I click here, we have a lot of options for saving files, opening files, and creating new files. And similarly, we have home tab, insert tab, page layout, formulas, and so on. By pressing each tab, we see a ribbon coming down below which has a lot of options that we can use for working in MS Excel. We will be going through each and every option step by step later on. Now that we have seen the interface of MS Excel workbook and worksheet, let's begin by doing some data entry tasks. We use MS Excel as a spreadsheet software for creating tables, doing data entry tasks, and processing different calculations. So let me start from cell A1 and start doing data entry. Let me create an employees table. For example, an employee can have ID, first name, last name, department, and salary. Let's stick to these columns for now. You can see that some of the column names are hidden and going under another column. We can see it in the formula bar, but we cannot see it in the cell. So how can we adjust this? We can adjust the width of each column by coming between the two columns, that you can see this plus sign, and we can increase the width like this. This is one way of increasing the width of the columns. But if you want to adjust the column width automatically, we can select these columns and we can double click between two columns like this. So Excel will automatically adjust the column width according to the text or the value it has. Let me type some entries here. For example, 1. So this is a small table that I created. We have ID, first name, last name, department, and salary. If you want to add more rows, we can just click here and start typing another row. For example, I want to add another row. David James. It comes from sales department and the salary is 16,000. Like this. If you want to format this table, you can format it. For example, let me select the header and click on this B, which stands for bold. If I click this, the header will be bold. Let me increase the width of ID and let me increase the column width a bit so we can see it clearly. So this is how you do a data entry in MS Excel. There are of course other ways, and remember that this is the mostly used way of doing data entry in MS Excel. Now before going forward with this, let me first show you how we can add and remove sheets into an MS Excel workbook. So this is sheet 1 that we added an employees table. Here we can rename this sheet and we can add more sheets, we can delete them. Let me first right click on this sheet and rename it. You can see this menu when you right click on any sheet. Here it gives you options for inserting new sheet. Let me click insert and it asks us whether we need to add a worksheet, chart, or other thing. But let me click OK to add a worksheet. We can see that another sheet is added to the left of the sheet that you are working. So this is the sheet 1 that you were working in before, and now the sheet 5 is added here. If I again right click, we can delete this sheet. Of course, we do not want to delete this one. We want to rename this one. So let me click rename, and there will be an option for you to rename this sheet. Let me give it a name of employee. When you write the name, press enter, and now this is employee sheet. Let me right click again. We have a delete option. We can delete this sheet. That's deleted. Let me right click again. We can have another option that is move or copy. This is a brilliant option for copying your sheet or moving it to somewhere else. If I want to create a copy of this sheet, I need to check this create a copy checkbox. If I don't check this checkbox, then this sheet will be moved and not copied. So now we are in book 1, and if I want to create a copy of this sheet right in this workbook, I will create a copy and click OK. Now you see that we have employee and employee 2. Both are different sheets now, but employee 2 is a copy of employee sheet. If I want to move or copy this sheet to another workbook, I can come again and click create a copy, come here to which book I want to create a new book, and there I want to create a copy of this employee sheet. Let me click OK. A new workbook will be opened and that employee sheet will be copied here. You can see that this is book 2 that is recently opened by MS Excel, where we copied this employee sheet from book 1. So let me close this because we don't need this here. Do not save this. And now we are back in book 1. If I again right click on employee sheet, we can see the view code option where we can write our code. Of course, we will not be working with code in this roadmap, but I just want to show you how we can use the code of the sheet. For example, let me show you an example. If I click view code, another window will open where it will give us an option of writing the code, and the code will be VBA code, which is a Microsoft programming language. Let me click this general and select worksheet. Instead of writing it for general, I need to write it for this specific sheet. Let me write a simple code. You do not need to understand this, but you just need to understand how this option works. Cells.columns.autofit. Now when I write anything in this sheet, for example, if I write employee name, remember that the employee name is actually a long text and it exceeds the width of this column. But if I press enter, the column is automatically adjusted. If I write something smaller, for example min, and I press enter, the column is automatically adjusted to the width. This is how the code works for MS Excel. If I right click again and see other options, we can protect the sheet by giving it a password. We will not be doing it right now. We can do it later on. We can give each sheet a separate color. For example, let me give it a green color. You can see that if I press this sheet, we can see that this employee sheet is colored green. Let me right click again. We can hide this sheet, and right click again. We can unhide this again and click OK. If I right click again, we can select all sheets like this, and we can perform some operations on them. Right click again, and we can link to this sheet from somewhere else, and whenever we click that link, this sheet will be opened for us. So we are not doing that right now because we do not need it. By right clicking a column, you can delete or insert new columns. We do not need this column, so let me delete it. We do not need this one, so let me delete it. As I said before, we have tabs on top of this MS Excel workbook. Then we have ribbons, but within ribbons we have several groups. You can see a very thin line here that is separating a group, which is a clipboard group, from another group that is font group. So there are different groups separated by these thin lines in MS Excel workbook, and each group performs different tasks. Let me start from the very beginning of this home ribbon and start from cut, copy and paste. So here I have created and formatted a table which contains employee information. There are several columns like ID, name, department, salary, month, bonus percentage, and total bonus, and then total salary. At the end we have one row that is totaling the salaries, the bonus and the total salaries. So let's start from the beginning. We can select different cells by clicking in a cell, pressing the left mouse key button and dragging this somewhere else up to where we want to select the range. So this is our range. We have selected this. If I cut this and I right click here, I can paste this here. So it will be cut from there and brought here. But we are not doing it right now. So let me get it back there. This is still in the copy mode, and it is giving an option that we can paste it somewhere else. We can see some small dots going around the table because this is the range that we selected and copied. So we can copy this from here, click copy and copy as a picture. We can do both, but we are copying here. We have already copied this and we want to paste it somewhere else. If I right click here and press this paste button, so that table is copied from here and pasted here completely with all of its formatting, its formulas, its notes and everything. Here we have a note as well for David. It says that he is on leave till next month. Here we have some formulas that you can see in the formula bar, and in bonus we also have a formula that you can see in the formula bar. So if you want to paste all the contents copied from somewhere else, we can paste it by clicking Ctrl V. Let me undo it. If I want to undo this action that I pasted this table here, I want to undo this, I can come here and click this undo button, undo paste, or the shortcut is Ctrl Z. Let me undo this so we do not have a table here. The table is already in copy mode and we can paste it again here with a different option. So let me click here in the clipboard group. Here we have an option paste. There are options, different options, that if you want to paste it as formulas, you want to paste it formulas and formatting and different things. And all these options are also available in this paste special command. If I click paste special, this window pops up and asks us how do you want to paste the copied table from there. If I click all and click OK, all the contents will be pasted here, but we do not want to do it again because we did it earlier. If I want to paste formulas, I can click OK and we can see that the content is pasted here without any formatting, without any notes, but only with formulas. These are the formulas that you can see in the formula bar, but the content format and the notes, everything else is not copied. So let me press Ctrl Z to undo this and again come to paste special so I can show you some more commands. We have another option, values. If I click values and click OK, the content will be pasted here but only as values. The formatting, notes and formulas will not be pasted here. You can see there only values. We have a formula here, but we do not have formula here, only the values are pasted here. Let me press Ctrl Z to undo this and come back to paste special. We can come to paste special from this command, or we can just right click here and go to paste special. Then we have formats. If I press formats, only formatting will be pasted there, nothing else. Let me press Ctrl Z, right click again, go to paste special, and if I press comments and notes, only comments will be pasted and nothing else. Only this comment is pasted here and nothing else is pasted. So let me press Ctrl Z. You can go to paste special and explore the other commands. We cannot do it all at once here, but I will show one more option, that is transpose. Let me click cancel. If you want to transpose a column into a row or a row into a column, we can paste it by transpose command. For example, if I want to select this range of values which is on column B, I Ctrl C or copy it from here. This will be copied, and if I right click here and go to paste special, check this transpose option and click OK. It will be pasted as a row. We copied it from a column, but this will be now pasted as a row because we pasted as transpose. If I copy now this range which is a row, or let me copy the header of the table which is a row, I copy it here, and if I want to paste it as transpose, I will right click, go to paste special, click transpose and click OK. That row will now be converted to a column. So this is how transpose works. Make sure that you go to paste special and explore the other options as well. Let me undo this, let me undo that. We see this brush icon in the home ribbon and in the clipboard group. How does this work? This is a brilliant tool. For example, if I want to add another table like year, month and sales, For example, I write 2021 January and sale was 20,000. Then we have 2021 and Feb, sale was 40,000. This is a small table. I want to copy the formatting of this table and paste the formatting to this table, so this table can also be formatted like the table we have on the left. Then we can use this format painter option. This is copying the format from one place and pasting it to another place. So let me select this table, click format painter. This is now only for copying the format. And now if I select this entire space of table, the same formatting will be brought here. If I want to select this, copy the format and go and select another range like an empty range, for example this one, the formatting of that table will come here as well. So we use this format painter to copy the format of one place and paste the format to another. For example, if we have selected this 4 cells, we give it a color, for example red color, and we bold this, we increase the font, for example, and write some text. Now I want to copy the format from this cell and paste it somewhere else. I can click format painter, click on this cell, and now this cell will be formatted the same way like that cell. If I write something here, for example here, we have the same formatting that is brought from there. Let's now move on to this font group. Let me select the content of this table and format it from this font group. We can adjust the font color, cell color, background color, and everything from this font group. We can select the font style, for example, it's Calibri Light. See, the font is changed. If I click again and select another one like this one, the font is changed. We can bold the text, we can italic this, we can adjust some more styles. For example, we can have the underline. And again, if I select another range, let me select this one so we can see it clearly. We can give it a border to cells. We can select bottom border, top border, and everything. We can select all borders. If I select all border, these cells will be given borders that we can see it here. We use this border most of the times for creating tables. We can draw border by ourselves. We can erase the border and everything. Make sure you check all these options. We can also give a color to the border like this one, and so on. Let me select this range again and change the background. We can change the background of these cells. For example, I'm selecting this background. We can select the top row and give it another background. For example, this one, yes, like this. And we can format the table the way we want. We can change the text color. For example, I want to type it in this color. If I type something, for example name, it will be typed in the color that we have selected. We can adjust the size of the text by selecting any size from here. For example, like this. And we can also adjust it from here. Increase the font, increase the size, decrease the size. We can also increase or decrease the size of specific cells. For example, let me come down here and select only these cells, increase the size. So only the size of these cells will be increased, not the other cells. We can also decrease it again. So we can use this font group for adjusting the font of our text and worksheet. Now let's begin the alignment group. In alignment group, we can align the text and position of every cell. For example, if I select this, I can say that make this centered, so all the contents will be centered that you can see. I can move it back to the left side, I can move it to the right side, and so on. So let me move it back to the left side. Similarly, we can adjust it vertically. We can use these options to adjust it vertically. Let me select the header. We can use this option for changing the direction of the text. If I click this one, we can see that the direction is changed, and we can bring it back again. Now we can change it like this. We can do it like this. We have different options. we can press this option and format cell alignment, and we can change the alignment from here as well. So we can center this horizontally, we can center it vertically, and so on. We use this wrap text option to wrap a text within a cell. For example, if I write a sentence here, let us learn the data analysis tools together, we can see that this text goes beyond the boundary of this cell. So how can we adjust this? We can adjust this by several ways. We can either increase this column width, which will be increased for all the cells, or we can do something else. We can wrap this text within this cell. So we can click this option and the text will be wrapped within this cell width. Another option is this one, that is merge and center. We can select different cells. For example, I want to add a name to this table, which is an employee table. So I can select these cells together and we can merge and center it to make it one cell. We can combine different cells into one cell by clicking this merge and center option. And now we can write something here, employee table, like this. If we select this table and give it a border, we can understand that this is only one cell, which is a combination of different other cells. Now let's move on to this number group in the home tab. By default, when we write anything in a cell, the automatic data type or the number type will be general, which is no specific format, but we can change it. For example, if I want to change this bonus style or the number type, I can come here, I can select that this is a number, and now you can see that we have 2 decimal points at the end of each number. I can change it to currency like this. We now have a $sign here, and I can change it to accounting format. If we have a date, we need to change it to a date format, short date or long date, but we do not have a date here, so we will not change it. Then we have percentage. We have this bonus percent, which is shown as a value 0.1, but we know that this should be 10%, not 0.1. So we need to select this and go to this number group and click percentage. Now this is changed to 10%. Of course, we can reduce the number of decimal points by clicking this option, decrease decimal, decreased, decreased, and now we have only 10%. If we want to increase it again, we can click this option, that is increased. We can add comma separators as well by clicking this option, comma. Now every 1000 values will be separated by comma. We can add percentage from here as well, and we can change the type to the currency to English dollar, euro, and everything like this. We have another option here that you can see, number format. If we click this, now it's giving us other options here as well. For example, if I click custom, we can change the options. We can change the number format from here. For example, we have some dates. Let me add a date here. These are the 2 dates which are already formatted as a date, and if I select these 2 cells, Excel detects the type of these cells and it converts it to date. If I want to change the date format, I will come here. I can change it from here as well, short date, long date, time, and other things, but I can go to more number formats. I can come here, click on custom, and I can change the type. We can see that this is month, day, and year. That sample is shown above, that we can see, but we can change it like this. I want to show it as day. We are going to type 4D. Then we need to add a separator. For example, I want to add dash. Then I want to show months. If I enter 2 M's, it will be shown as 08. If I add 3 M's, it will be shown as AUG August. But if I add another M, now we have the full version of August shown as this in this sample. Let me add dash again, and if I add Y, we have 23. Y again, we still have 23. Y again, 2023, and Y again. So we have this custom option where we can change the data type or the number format based on our own choice. If I click OK, now we see the full date form here. Wednesday, August 2023, Thursday, August 2023. Now let's move on to conditional formatting, the styles group. We will not be touching conditional formatting in this video because we are going to study this in the coming video. Another option is the format table option. If I select this table, I can quickly come here to format as table, and I can select any style from the already built-in styles that come with MS Excel. But this will not only change the style of the table, but it will also adjust the table to the database table format. We can then add calculations to this, and it will automatically give us some more options of working with tables. So if I click this one, the table will automatically be selected. Of course, we can change the selection from here. For example, if I do not want to select all the table, I can select a portion of the table, but currently I want to select all the table without the top row and without the bottom row, because these rows do not contain any data specifically which are part of this table. So this option is already checked because my table already has headers. If I click OK, now we can see that the table is formatted in a very nice way. We can expand this table by coming to the bottom of this and dragging it downwards. If I drag this downwards, now we can see that the row that we had before is now adjusted according to the table that we have. But we see some hashes here. This is because the column width is the column width is small. So let me increase the column width, and now we have enough space for displaying those values. When we select a style for a table, it automatically gives us this table design tab that we did not have before. We can remove the filter button, we can add last column and something like this. We can add a total row that we see below. We can export, we can refresh, and we can do a lot of stuff that we will be seeing in the coming videos. So let's go back to the home. After formatting table, we have cell styles that we can select for specific cells. For example, if I select this cell, I can give it a unique style like this one. This is bad. This is good. We can change the specific cell styles from here. Let's move on to the cells group. From here, we can insert cells, we can insert rows, we can insert columns, and we can insert sheets as well. So practice this by yourself because it's very easy. Coming here, this option gives us some basic formulas that we will be seeing next, not right now. We will be seeing this later on in this video. Now let's see this series option. So let's see this table that has two columns, country and state, where all these states belong to US country. I can drag this up to this point, so we have US written in front of each state. I can come here to this option that is fill, and I can click up. Now this will be filled up. If we see the same table here, we have US written on top, but we need to fill this down. I can select this range, I can come to fill option, and now we can fill it down. You can see that this is now filled down. Similarly, if I want to fill this right, for example, I want to write 2023 from left to right, then I can come to this fill option and I can click right. Now this will be filled right. Similarly, you can practice the fill left option as well. There is another option that we can also do. For example, if I undo this, we can select this, and here we will have a dot at the right bottom, and when we hover over it, we have a dark black plus option. We can click this and drag it down. This will be dragged down as well. So we have these two options. Another option we have of series. Let me click fill, and now we have series. In series, we have row option and column option. For example, I want to fill this row to the right. I want to fill this row wise. I want to start from 1 and go to, for example, 10. So if we have 10 cells here, it will be filled. If we do not have 10, then only the selected cells will be filled. So let me go to 5, not 10. Click OK. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is series filling a row. Similarly, we have two columns here where we can fill these columns with series. For example, I want to fill this column with this series. So I have written 1 here, and when I come to this fill option, I click series, Then here we have step value. I want to increase each cell value by 1, and I want to stop at 100, and this will be column wise, not row wise. So let me click this columns and click OK. Now we can see that all the cells are filled with the values up to 100, and each value is increased by 1. Now let's go to fill again, go to series, click columns. The step value should be 5 this time, and I want to go to 50. If I click OK, we can see that each value is increased by 5. First we have 1, then plus 5 is 6, plus 5 is 11, up to 46. Similarly, if we have another column, we write 1 and 2 here, and we select both of them, and then we drag them down. Excel understands that I want to fill this series where each cell value will be increased by 1 because the top two cells have 1 and 2. If we undo this and we have 1 and 5, now when I select both and drag them down, Excel understands that I want to fill this series and each cell value needs to be increased by 4. 1, 5, 9, 13 and so on. Another brilliant option that we can see here is the flash fill option. Let me show you how this works. For example, we have a table like this where we have first name, last name and full name. We can come here and write one full name from the table. For example, Emily space Johnson. If I press enter and click right below this Emily Johnson and come to fill option and flash fill, now Excel understands that I want to combine this first name with the last name and write it here. So this is a very nice tool. We can use the shortcut as well. Let me use the shortcut here. This is another example of the flash fill. We have raw data where we have the name of the person, we have the department and the salary. Now we want to write the name here, department here under department column, and salary under salary column. So what we can do is to write one of the values from the list. For example, let me write John here and click right underneath the John. Now this time let me press Ctrl E, and now you can see that this is filled with the names. If I click under department and write HR, which is the department of the first raw data row, click enter and now press Ctrl E, all the departments from this data will be written under department. And if I click under salary column and write the salary of the first row, click enter, press Ctrl E, all the salaries will be brought here. This is a nice way to do data cleaning. This very simplifies the data cleaning process and it saves a lot of time. We will come back to sort and filter later on, and we will study this later in this video. Now that we have seen some basic stuff of MS Excel, let's move on to functions and formulas. In this lesson, we will work on some basic formulas that I have listed here. But in the coming lesson, we will also move to some more advanced formulas like VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, index and match, and SUMIFs, filter, and some other advanced functions of MS Excel. So to enter a formula in MS Excel, we can go to Formulas tab, and here in this Formulas ribbon, we can see that there are some auto-sum functions that we can use, and some recently used functions that are used in this file or other Excel files, and some other categories that you can see here. You can use functions from all of these different categories at different times. But if you want to see all the functions at once, you can click Insert Function, and here the default category is most recently used, but you can change it to all, and you will see all the functions available for you in Excel. So let me cancel this. We can insert a function from there, or we can insert it directly in the formula bar. If I type equal sign, now Excel is waiting for a formula or a function to be entered here, or we can directly come to this cell and we can directly add an equal sign here to start a function. So first of all, we will add a sum function, which is used to add different values together and return the total of that. We can add a sum function, and then we can specify some values, for example 12, 23 and 34. If I close parentheses and press enter, it will return the sum or the total of 12, 23 and 34. Similarly, we can specify a range. For example, instead of adding values, I can specify this salary column's values. I can select the entire range here that you can see. I can close parentheses and now it will return the total of the salary column from this employee table. So this is how sum works. If we move on to the average, as the name suggests, the average function will return average of the selected range or the values that we specify. So let me add an equal sign to begin the function. Write AVER average. Now it is asking for numbers to be added, so it can return the average of those numbers. Again, we can specify the numbers or values, or we can select the range. So I want to see the average salary of this table. So let me close parentheses and now it returns the average salary. Similarly, count function counts values in a selected range. Instead of summing or returning the average, it returns the count. So let me add equal sign, write count and select again the salary column. If I close parentheses, it says that there are 15 values in this salary column, and we can see that from here as well, from 1 to 15. Max returns the maximum value in a selected range. If I say max, if I add an equal sign and write max, select the maximum bonus. This time I'm selecting bonus. If I want to give me the maximum bonus value from the bonus column, it will say that the maximum bonus is 770, which is right at the end, this one. Similarly, min returns the minimum value of a selected range. If I say return the minimum value from the salary column, show me the minimum salary, it will say that the minimum salary is 5,000. So the next one is a logical function. Let me expand this. This is a if function which tests for a certain condition. For example, if I say if this department value, this selected value that I have selected here, is equal to IT, then comma return value if the condition is true. Here I give it a condition, check if the D2 value is equal to IT. So if that is IT, return a value for the true condition. So if that is IT, I will say you have internet bonus. So if this value is IT, it will write you have internet bonus. But if that is not IT, then again I need to add a comma and it will say that now write a value. If that condition is false, then the function will write this value. So if that is IT, it will return you have internet bonus. If that is not IT, it should return not applicable, NA. Add quotation marks, close parentheses and press enter. This returns NA because this D2 value is not IT. If you want to check all these values, will I write the formula again in all of these cells? No. I can just come here and drag this down till the end of the list. Now whenever it finds IT, for example here, it says you have internet bonus. But if it doesn't find IT in the department column, then it prints NA. Now let's move on to the AND function. AND is also a logical function and it tests more than one conditions. For example, if I say AND, let me put an equal sign and then write AND, check if this D2 is equal to HR, comma, I can add another condition, and this salary column or salary cell is less than 6,000. I can add more conditions if I want to, but I can close it here. If I want to add only 2 conditions, I can close this here. So if I press enter, this will return true because D2 has HR value, which is true, and E2 is less than 6,000, which is also true. For AND to return true, all the conditions must return true. If all the conditions are not true, AND will return false. If any one of the conditions is not true, AND will return false. In this case, because both of the conditions are true, AND will return true. If I press enter, it returns true. Let me change a condition. For example, instead of less than 6,000, let me say if this is less than 4,000. Now we have 2 conditions. The D2 is HR, that condition is true, but E2 is not less than 4,000 because it's 5,000. So if I press enter, it will return false. So for AND to become true, all the given conditions must be true, and at the end it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. We can also combine different functions to make it one formula. For example, this true and false will not give me any good insight. What I can do is to combine this if and AND together, like this. Let me add an equal sign. First of all, check if. Within if, instead of logical test, I can add AND to check for 2 or more tests. Instead of 1 test, I can add AND to check for 2 or more tests. So what I want to do is to check whether this department is equal to IT, and I put a comma and then specify logical 2 or another condition, and the salary is less than 6,000. So what it does, first of all, it checks these 2 conditions because it evaluates the AND function before the if function. So AND will be executed first. Whenever it returns true or false, then that true or false will be given to if, and if will perform its own operation after that. So we can see that we have given two conditions for AND to check whether D2 is IT and E2 is less than 6,000. Then after that, now AND is finished. Now it comes to if. We can see it below the function. It comes to if. We have given the logical test, which is another function, that is AND. Now what should be printed or what should be done whenever this AND condition returns true? So if it returns true, I want to add 1,000 more bonus to the IT person because their salary is less than 6,000. If not, then I want to print NA, not applicable, and then I will close the if function with a parenthesis. So let's recap. If this is I have given it an AND function instead of a logical test, and the AND function itself is a logical test because it checks for 2 conditions. It says check this D2 value if that is IT, and check E2 value if that is less than 6,000, then print 1,000, that is an extra bonus, or print NA, that is not applicable. So if I press enter, it says not applicable because this D2 is not IT. If I drag this down till the end so we can check for all the values, now it prints 1,000 in 2 places. In this place it says yes, this is IT, and the salary is less than 6,000. So both of the conditions are true in this case. That's why it prints 1,000. We have another IT here that you can see, but the salary is not less than 6,000. So as I said before, for AND to return true, all the conditions must return true, so AND at the end can also return true. One of these conditions is false, that's why it does not return 1,000, it returns NA. Similarly, in this case, we can see that this is IT and the salary is less than 6,000. So it returns 1,000 because all the conditions are true. I hope you have understood the usage of and if. Now let's move on to lift. Lift is a textual function. It returns number of characters from the left side of a text. For example, let's see it in action. If I add equal sign and then write lift, open parentheses and select the text. See, it specifies the text. Let me select this first name. I want to return the first two characters of John, or the first name. So I selected the text. Now I can specify the number of characters. I will specify number of characters as 2. Close parentheses. It says that give me the 2 characters from the left side of this B2 cell. In B2 we have John. So let me press enter and it returns JO because those are the first 2 characters. And if I drag this formula down and see it for all these first names, we can have the first 2 characters of every first name here. Similarly, mid returns the middle characters. For example, let me write mid and specify the text. This time I want to specify John first name again, and then this time we do not specify the number of characters directly, but we want to start from which character. For example, I say start from 2 and give me 2 characters. So if I press enter, it returns OH because O is the second character, as we said before here, that start from 2, start from second character. So the second character is O and then it will returns 2. So it returns OH, starts from O and returns O plus H. It's 2 characters. If we want to return more characters, for example, I want to return 3 characters, then it will return 3 characters from the middle. And if we drag it down, we can see the 3 characters of every first name. Let me hide these columns so we have space for working. Let me hide all of these. Select all of the columns, right click and hide them. Now we have some more space for working. Upper function converts a text to uppercase. It's very simple function. Write upper and select the text. For example, I want to select first name again and it will return uppercase first name letters like this. Length returns the length of a text. How many characters are in a text? For example, return length of this department. Let me select department so we can see it in action. So it says that HR has 2 characters, and if we drag it down till the end, sales has 5, IT 2, marketing 9, and so on. Concatenate function concatenates 2 or more texts together. For example, if I want to add first name and last name together, we can do it by the use of concatenate. Let me write equal sign, concat, and we need to specify the texts, different texts. For example, I want to select first name, comma, last name, comma, everything else if I want to add, but I don't want to add anything else. I just want to concatenate first name and last name. If I press enter, it returns John Johnson, but there is no space between first name and last name. So what I can do, I can just double click, and between first name and last name I can add a space, which is also a string or a text. So after B2, let me add a space, 1 space, or you can add as many spaces as you want, but let me add only 1 space, and then comma and C2. If I press enter, it returns John space Johnson, and if we drag it down, then it will apply the formula to all the first name and last names. So these are the simple functions that we have listed here. Let's move on to trim and proper functions. There are also text functions that we can use. For example, if you have a case while doing data entry that your text is having spaces leading spaces or trailing spaces. You can remove these spaces by trim function. For example, I want to apply trim. So let me add an equal sign, write trim, open parentheses, and select this John, which has spaces before, and close parentheses, press enter. Now it returns John and Karen. Remember that I have converted these simple tables into an Excel table or a pivot table. That's why I entered formula in this one cell and it applied it to all of the cells. Let me convert these to simple ranges instead of tables so we can see the formulas in action. Convert to range, yes. Now it's converted to range. If I want to apply the formula again, I can say trim, select the text, press enter. It's applied to this cell, and now we can drag it down below like this. Similarly, we can apply the same trim function for this last name. Select this and this will be applied. Remember that table is also an Excel table. Let me convert that as well to a range. Yes. Now we can see this. Now we can see the actual formulas here. We also have a proper function that converts a text not to upper, not to lower, but to proper case. In proper case, we have the first letter capital and all the remaining letters in lowercase. For example, the first entry is already in proper case, the second entry is also in proper case, but the third one is not in proper case because the first name starts from lowercase r. Emily is in proper case, Michael is in proper case, but Sarah is not. So let's add the formula and see how the proper function works. Let me add an equal sign, write proper, select this name John, close parentheses and press enter. Because that is already in proper case, we see no difference here. But for Robert, we see a difference. For Sarah, we see a difference that is converted to proper case. Similarly, for James, we see a difference. We can do one thing, we can just drag this formula to the right and we will see that this is applied to the last name as well. So we can do that, or we can simply add the formula by ourselves. So let me press enter, drag this down, and now we can see that the last name is also converted to a proper case. Where is the difference? We can see the difference in Wilson, where W is lower, but here it's capitalized. And we see capital W for Wilson. Similarly, Thompson is converted to a proper case, and Martin is where all the letters are capital. It has been converted to a proper case. Only the M is left in uppercase, and all the remaining letters are in lowercase. I hope you have understood the use of trim and proper. Let's move on to round function. Round function is a mathematical function that is used to round a certain value to a few decimal points. For example, we have bonus percent here, and it has somewhere it has 4 decimal points, somewhere it has 3, and we want to convert this to only 2 decimal points. So what we can do is to round this. Add an equal sign, write round, select this value that you want to round, and then comma, give it the number of decimal digits. For example, it has 4 digits after the decimal point, but I want to see only 2 digits. Close parentheses and press enter. Now it has been converted to 2.46. Remember, when a value is equal to 0.5 or greater than 0.5, that will be rounded up by round function, but if it's lower than 0.5, it will be rounded down. Currently it is 2.45, but after 5 we have 6, 7. So 6, 7 is converted to 6, and add it to this 5, which becomes 2.46, and now we have 2.46. If we drag this down, we will see that this formula is being applied to all these values. Here you can see 3.12, because this 4, 5 after 1, 2 is not equal to or greater than 0.5. It is rounded down, and now it is removed. We only see 3.12. We can see this difference in round up and round down functions as well. We have two more functions. One is round up, another is round down, which you can specifically tell Excel to round this value to up or down. Without converting it implicitly, we can specifically specify this to Excel that I want to round all the values up. For example, we can add a round up function. We can select the value, close parentheses, press and number of digits. Remember, comma, number of digits. For example, I want 2, press enter. Now all the values will be rounded up. Let me drag it down. You can see the difference here. We had 3.12, which was rounded down. Now because you want to round it up, so it has been rounded up to 3.13. Similarly, the round down functions will round down all the values without checking whether the value is lower than 0.5 or upper than 0.5. It will round it down. So let me add round down, select the value, specify number of digits, for example 2, and enter. Now we see that all the values which were rounded up by the round function, now they are rounded down. So we use these three different functions for rounding values. Most of the times you will not see round up or round down, because we see round function and we implement round also in mathematics and in MS Excel. So let's move on to sort, filter, and slicers. I have added a simple data set where there is team, year, month, and sales. So there are different teams that you see. There are 27 rows in this table. There are different years, 2021, 2022, 2020, and so on. March, February, also January. So we have different months and different sales. What I want to do is I want to first of all sort this, because it starts from team 3 and not team 1. I want to sort this. So what I can do is to click here, come to this editing group in home ribbon, and here we see sort and filter. Click on this, and I want to sort it from A to Z. So I want it to be sorted from team 1 to team 3, not team 3 to team 1. So if I click sort A to Z, it's automatically sorted from team 1 to team 3. You can see that all the team 1s of different years are listed first, and then team 2 is listed second, and then we have team 3 that we can see. What we can do is to also sort by year. We have sorted by team, now I want to sort it by year. That's called advanced sorting. If I want to add a multi-level sorting, what I can do is to click here, go to sort and filter, click on custom sort, and here, because we have sorted it only by team, we have team 1 first, but within team 1 we have 2022 first, then 2020, but I want to see 2020 first, then 2021 second, and 2022 third. So what I can do is to add another level of sorting, select year here, and I want to sort it smallest to largest or largest to smallest as per our requirements, but here we want to see the smallest here first. Then I can add another level. I can add it by month, but as you will see, there will be no difference because in February F comes before J in January. As an alphabetical order, we have F before J. So February will come first, and after that we will have J and March. We will have February, January, March. So let's see this first, like this one. February is added first. Remember, it has been sorted according to our requirements by year, but in month names we have issues. What we can do is to convert these values, these textual values, to numbers. For example, let me replace February to 2, replace all, okay, replace January to 1, replace all, okay, and replace March with 3, replace all, okay. Close this. Now what we can do is to go to sort and filter again, custom sort, and here apply this again. So let me delete this and add the label again. I want to apply this filter, this sort again. Let me click OK, and now it has been sorted according to our requirements. We have team 1 first. Within team 1 we have 2020 first, then 2021, then 2022, and within each year, for example in 2020 we have first month, second month, and third month. So this is how we can sort our data sets. We can also add filters. For example, I don't want to see this entire data set at once. I can come to this sort and filter, and I can apply filter. When I apply filter here, you can see that some buttons are added to the columns. What we can do is to click on this button on any column. For example, I don't want to see all of this at once. I want to see only team 1's record. So I can filter team 1, click OK, and now we can see this. Within this filter, we can filter it to another level as well. For example, for team 1, I don't want to see all of the years. I only want to see 2021. So click OK, and it will be filtered. Similarly, you can filter it by month. You can filter it by sales values or other filters. Let me Control Z this. We can also filter by color if we have some color. Filter by color which is not activated because we don't have any colors here. Or we can filter it by some number filters, like filter only those values and year where it has 2022. If I click OK, only 2022 will be filtered. You can play with this and you can see some other filters that we have: greater than, does not equal, between, top 10, above average, and all of this. Similarly, we can sort by color and we can also filter by color. For example, let me remove this filter. For example, I want to add a color to this, a yellow color, and here another yellow color. If I want to filter it by color, I can come here. Now this has been activated because we have a color, and if I click this color, it will be filtered based on the color that we specify. So I hope you have understood the concept of sorting and filtering. Now let's move on to another concept, that is linking sheets together. For example, we have a data set that is ID, name, department, email, and contact. This contact is another separate table that we want to link to this table, which is in this EMP contacts sheet. Here we have listed the contact numbers for each employee. For example, in this employee 001 John, we have 2 contact numbers in this sheet, EMP 001, and there are 2 contacts. I want to link these 2 contacts to this EMP 001. What I can do is to click this contact EMP 001, go to Insert tab, and from here go to Link, insert a link, and now we can insert any link we want. We can insert an email address here. We can insert a web address here, for example www.google.com. Or we can insert a link to a place in this document, which I want here. So I want to link a place within this document. So here I want to go to EMP contacts, and I want to select A2, from A2 till B4, A2 to B4. How do I know that this is the range? Let me cancel this, go to EMP contacts. We can see that this starts from A2. The contacts of EMP 001 starts from A2, and we have this in 2 rows. So it's A2 to B3, not B4, sorry, it's B3. We have only two contacts. So this is A2, this is B2, this is A3, and this is B3. So we will specify the range from A2 to B3 to select this area. So let's go to employees again, click on insert link and select place in this document. I want to select this EMP contacts sheet, and there I want to link this to from A2 to B3, and if I click OK, now we see that the color of this value is changed, and if I hover over it, I can see that in this tooltip that this has been linked to EMP contacts from A2 to B3. If I click this, now it brings me to this EMP contacts sheet, and now it has been selected. Now it shows that this is the selected range that is linked to that EMP contacts EMP001. If I want to add another link, I can do the same. Let me add it for EMP002, which is from A4 to B5. Let me quickly go to the link, click here first, insert the link, place in this document, EMP contacts, and from here that was A4 to B5. Click OK, and if I click this one, it brings me to this sheet and the selected cells that we have. So this is how you link sheets together. You link a value to an address and so on. Now we have a mini project listed here. I want to perform some operations here to make it look good, and we can implement all the things that we learned before to this data set. So let me select all the columns, all the cells at once, double click here so we can see the entire data set. So first of all, the product name, category, date, the column names are similar to the other text. I want to convert this to bold. So this is now bold. I can see that this is now a table, or we can just select the entire table and we can come to format as table. We can select a style for this, and I can say that my table has headers. If I click OK, this will automatically be converted to a table. I can remove the filter button so you can see it here. Similarly, let's see if it has other data entry issues. There is no issue. Here in this date column, I want to change the format of the date. I don't want to see date like this, so I will select the entire values of this column. Okay, and right click on this, go to format cells that you see here, format cells, click, and I can come to custom. As we said before, I want to change the format. What I want to see is, I want to see the full day name, then a dash. I want to see the full month name, dash, and then I can see the year 23. Click OK. Now this entire column is converted to the date format that I want to see. So we do not have any other issues in this table. It has been cleaned. Now let's come to these requirements. It says find me the total quantity sold. So we saw these functions earlier. Let me expand this so you can see. Okay, it says find me the total quantity sold. What I can do is to add a simple sum function. Sum, give me the quantities, the entire range. Close parentheses and press enter. We see that the total quantity sold is 323. Find total sales, again sum, sales, close parentheses, and this is the total sales. Find max sales is equal to max. Find maximum sales, and this is the maximum sales, 960, which is here. Similarly, find the minimum sales. I can add min function, select the entire range, close parentheses, and now we have the minimum sales, which is 75. So this is how we apply these functions. Let me convert this to table. so it looks better, and now we have these values. A task for you guys, for the viewers, is this project. Look at this table, complete this table because it needs total, average and result. In result column we will add values from here. These are the tasks that you need to perform. First of all, format the table in a proper table format. So format this is not in a good format. Use formulas for total and average. Find the total marks of each student in front of their record. Find the average marks and write them here. Use formulas, okay? Do not sum or find average based on a calculator, okay? Use formulas here. Now the third one is, if average is greater than or equal to 60, show pass in the result column, else show fail. So find the average. If this average is greater than or equal to 60, this cell should have written pass. Or if that average is less than 60, this should be fail. So this is task for you guys. Do this, practice this, and in the next lesson we will move on to some advanced functions of MS Excel.